workers to bring water from the low level to the top of the fortress. We will show you the system, how he could manage to channel the flood water from the Hebrew mountain when building an aqueduct, bringing the water into the hewn rock system, 12 system, could contain up to 40,000 cubic meters per system. And from those systems he used to bring the water to the top thanks to animals, thanks to donkeys. Now this is the period of Herod. Everything is okay. When he passed away, we do not have any history related to Masada until the resistance, the zealots, who led the revolt against the Romans in Caesarea Maritima and ended here in Masada. So the film that you have seen relates well the story of the fall of Masada. So when the zealots came here, they took advantage of the facilities that Herod left for them. They have used one of the rooms as a synagogue. You'll see the synagogue.
Thank you.
And well, they did not change many of the things. They took advantage of the site. They lived here from the year 68, 67, up to the year 73. So you will see a synagogue, which makes it maybe the oldest synagogue in the Holy Land, because it dates before the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, before the year 70. Then we will show you the breaching point from where the Romans could manage to break wall with the tower of the the resistance could not really do much about this issue because most of the slaves who built the artificial ramp were Jews. And they knew that the end is coming. So that's why Elazar bin Yair have a very famous speech, we have it here, when he convinced his followers that it is better for us to give our lives, finish our lives, rather than to deliver our children, our women as slaves for the Romans. And Josephus Flavius tell us that thanks to the three women who escaped the massacre, who escaped the incident, they related that 900 people have killed each other. They have chosen 10 people by chance to finish the lives of the remaining 9. And the last one has simply killed himself. Because in Judaism, it is not allowed to commit suicide. So that's why how the system went. So for the Jews, Masada is to fight till the end. And to maybe to accept death rather than to live alive but as a slave. So we will start walking through the site. It's an international heritage site since the year 2001. Described at the list of the UNESCO as an international heritage site. Archaeologists have done their best to have a place so well preserved. Whenever you see a black line, just think that what was below the black line was found original. What was above the black line was rebuilt by the archaeologists to give you a clearer image of the place. So we will climb up and we will start through the commander headquarters, the northern palace, the bathhouse, the synagogue, the water system, and the breaching point, and we will end by the visit of the Byzantine church, because some Christian monks took advantage of the isolated, well-preserved site and lived here for a few centuries during the Christian period. Then it was abandoned. Right, what was found above below was original, and then some stones from the same place were added to show you that how it looks like at that time. But using the stones of their place.
And we have a photocopy. Will that work?
Josephus Flavius believed that every storehouse was composed of 2 floors. That's why he said 29 storehouses. Well, of course, here we don't have 29. But maybe there was 2 floors. Masada. You have to understand Masada as a location was so strategic. So before Herod, the Hasmoneans, those Maccabees who ruled the country for 1 year as the first Jewish entity, they ruled after the Greek and before the Romans. The Maccabees discovered this strategic place and they were present here. Why they were present? To control routes, ways leading from the valley of Arava, Edom, Ein Gedi, and Jerusalem, and another road from the Judean desert through Moab and Jerusalem. So there has been a crossing roads, and each of the 2 roads should pass by here. So this means that there has been some kind of business, trade. And in order to control the smuggling of salt or the trade, they should control the place. So Masada was a strategic location discovered by the Maccabees. So this is how Herod knew about this place. And he came and he built for the Northern Palace, the bathhouse, which is the square building beneath the fences here, in addition to the storehouses that you see in front of you. Here you can see the second one to the left, how a storehouse was discovered when they came to this place in the 19th century. They found it like this. And the one just closed, and the other one was rearranged to show you how it looked. In the film, it dealt with the fall of Masada. When the Romans came into the top, they have discovered the storehouses full of food and beverages. So, in order to deliver a message to the Romans that we did not die from hunger, we choose to die rather than to be delivered as slaves. So some of the rooms had their original mosaic floor dating from the time of Herod, from the 1st century before Jesus Christ. And some of his invitees were invited to stay in the guest wings just beneath the terrace, that you can have a look from the terrace and see how it looks like, the foundation of that original northern palace. You have to know that Herod used to come very often to Jericho, to Masada, just to flee the mob, just to get away from Jerusalem, and in case of a war, any revolt, he would come and live here. He's away from anything. And he used to enjoy the sea, the view over the Dead Sea. By the way, it was not called the Dead Sea at that time. The term Dead Sea is never mentioned in the Bible. It used to be called the Sea of the Salt. Why it's the Sea of the Salt? By the way, it's 9 times saltier than any normal sea. 9 times. 35% of the water is out of salt. That's why nobody can sink. You can read your brochure soon. So, and by the way, something else. You cannot risk any sunburns while you are on the shore of the Dead Sea. No one can risk any sunburns. Why is that? Because of the depth of the place. That deep point can reflect all the ultraviolet rays. So it is like a second ozone layer. So you're protected while you are at the very deep area. So that's why you don't need to buy. By the way, they don't have Dead Sea products as sun protection. Never. They know that. It's something else. But you need to drink water. Okay? So let's get just.
Дайте здесь фотографировать.
שגם פה נמצאו בחפירות
Let me finish. Men used to work hard, but women used to planify the work for men to execute it.
They have to clean
If it is my wife, I will not do.
I won't repeat it.
The Prime Minister.
Amir. طيب يلا اوكي لقيته؟ بعرف لسه بده يجي يخلص. طيب خلينا بعدين بشرح انا عمال يلا. طيب باي باي. We found the book. Okay, thanks. So men enter through this room. They will enter through this room, and you will see benches where they used to sit. Take off their clothes, hang them on the sides. You will see original frescoes that date back from that time. It's called the apoditerium, the changing room. Then they will get into the tepid room, and then you have the cold room, which is simply a place where there is cold water, and then they will get into the hot room, caldarium, the sauna. You have to know how it was composed, the sauna. Let's explain what it is. You're not a big group. So this is a very tiny, or let's say this is a small bathhouse compared to the one which is discovered in Beit Shean, south of Tiberias. The bathhouse that was discovered is 10 times bigger than this one. It is true that the main element of the bathhouse is the sauna, the hot room. The cold room contains water, and the hot room is in between. How this system was made of. Look at your right-hand side, at the corner. The archaeologists have just made a sample of the original floor that used to be composed of two different floors. The one in the bottom separated by the ceramic pipes, and then you have the upper floor. In between, so there is a distance. If you can notice, there is a hole. A hole just
On the side.
yeah, where there's some kind of glass. This is the entrance of the furnace. The furnace was outside that used to heat the air, and heated air used to flow between the two levels of the floors, and used to flow through the ceramic pipes that are embedded into the walls as well. You see them there?
Yeah.
So you have ceramic pipes into the ground with some separation areas, letting the heated air coming from outside, thanks to the furnace, into the hot room. So you can imagine that how the hot air will be circulated all the time, and this room will be hot almost all the time. So this is the sauna of at least 2,000 years ago. The exit gate was not from here. This is done recently for visitors, but they used to exit from the same entrance, actually, to go directly to the cold water, and then changing clothes exit. So this is called Hippocus, or Hypocus, actually, YPCOS. It's known as the hot air that circulates beneath the ground, thanks to a furnace which is placed outside. Okay, so the bathhouse at Beit Shean is 10 times bigger than this. So in the White Book, it describes well what does it mean, a Roman legion. It is usually composed of 40,000 soldiers. Sorry, 4,000 soldiers. My God, it has increased in one shot. This is the heat. 4,000 soldiers. And the Bible or the narratives tell us that the 10th Roman legion stationed for few months. Some say 4, some say 6, but they could station in this area. This is the biggest Roman camp, where the centurion, the head of the 10th Roman legion, whose name was Da Silva, was right there. And other Roman camps were to the other side, knowing that there was no way to get from that side to the other. Especially these days, when a bus drives us to the western side, he can bring pilgrims to that side, but he has to make another 1 hour and a half turn to the other side. Because we usually come to that side and walk to the top of the mountain, and the bus finds us 1 hour and a half later to the other side, where we have stopped just right now. So it was a severe operation, not easy. So this is the 10th, one of the camps of the 10th Roman legion.
Sister.
When you have areas that are below sea level, so it's easy to imagine flood water from a high area to another. The Romans were masters in building aqueducts, that channel that used to bring water from different areas. For example, between Hebron and Bethlehem, there's about 45 miles. The Romans managed to build a 60 kilometers aqueduct, about 45 miles of an aqueduct from Hebron to Jerusalem with a gravity of 1 centimeter per 1 kilometer. And thanks to gravity, water used to circulate from Hebron to Jerusalem by gravity. So they were genius, and Herod have learned a lot. He was more Romans than the Romans themselves. So he understood that in order to live, you need water. So he built an aqueduct, and he managed to channel the flood water coming from a high distance, from high area, into the aqueduct, and on the road, cisterns were hewn into the rock that were able to contain up to 40,000 cubic meter. Here I'm not wrong, correct, 40,000.
Yes, 40,000.
Each cistern used to contain 40,000 cubic meter. We had about 12 cisterns hewn into the rock. And once there's more water than what's needed, it will go to the dam that was prepared in the lower valley. And thanks to donkeys, using that path, we used to bring water into the top of the mountain. That path was destroyed by an earthquake. But imagine that path was like this, and the cistern that we have seen up there was filled with water thanks to the filled water. They could not count on rainfall. It will not be possible. They had to bring water from other places, which they have done. And when the Hasmoneans, when the Zealots lived here, there was plenty of water inside. And they used to know how to plaster the cistern in order to contain water for a long time. Plastering, it's a process of burning the crushed limestones. Once they are burned, mixed with water, you can plaster the cistern, and it can contain water for a long time. This is a system that is used even these days in some areas. You can see how it is plastered from the top. Okay, this is the water system of the Masada, which is the main important living item. Without it, nobody can live here. Kind of pumping system. So these zealots who lived in the fortress of Masada between 66, maybe 67, up to 73, they needed a place to pray. So that's why they have turned one of the rooms that was built by Herod into a synagogue. So inside there's a synagogue where believers can sit to the benches around, and there's a geniza, which is a place where they could store old books. This is the synagogue of the fortress that has a gate which is not oriented towards Jerusalem, because only after the destruction of the temple, all the gates of synagogues are built towards Jerusalem. So if you are in Canada, would like to know the direction of Jerusalem, look for a synagogue. After the destruction of the temple, all Jews living in the diaspora should think in their hearts of the importance of the temple, even during weddings. In some cultures among the Jews, the couple would sit inside a tent, and they will take some dishes and cups, they will throw them, break them, in order to remember the destruction of the temple. In some cultures, they build a very beautiful house, but they will keep a corner of the house, an ugly corner, non-painted, just to remember the sadness of the destruction of the temple. So there are some cultures like this among the Jews who still believe in their praise in the temple. So after the destruction of the temple, synagogues will replace the importance of temples through the prayers. So after the temple was destroyed, synagogues will be the place of the prayer. So that's why there are some rules about it. So we can say that this is the oldest well-preserved, synagogue ever found in Israel. And after a few months of siege, this was actually the ending point of the revolt. From here, they could manage to breach a hole in the wall. And the second day, they said, let's go and finish with the job. But when they came on top, it was already finished. So the western breaching point of the fortress of Masada. Some pilgrims would love to come from this side and walk to the top of the western side and enter through this gate that we call the Byzantine gate. The Byzantine gate, which is to say that the Byzantine monks used to come from this side and they used to live here, and here's the chapel of the Byzantine church that we have just in front. So this would be the last point. We're going to visit the Byzantine chapel and we'll continue down to take the photo.
I didn't find it at first, but I told I said, look, the bags, the bags.
No, that's okay, you can stand. I can see it. I can see it. Yeah?
It's like when you play baseball.
You throw the bat and then you go to the top of the bat. First one
Okay, everybody swing. Hey, you go to Marchand Quebec. It's twice as high. And it's just
Okay.
We are it's twice as high.
Look behind you, friends. Look at the students who are climbing down. Wow. Look at the different colors.
Wow, the students are climbing down. You didn't see us climbing up here. Racist. Nah, look, there goes yours. See, some of the stupid people.
You got like all around the mountain, and there's about like 12 We have restaurant there too. But you made me go out and sit down. We were there in the summer, so we have Mr. Gondola down as well. Unless you want to walk it. There's that, because it's closed.
That would be pretty amazing.